let's cross live then to Seoul. We're going to speak to correspondent Fabienne Kretschmer, who joins us from there. Fabienne, what is Kim Jong Un actually hoping then to get out of this visit?
Well, there might be one actually practical result out of this visit. China is expected to deliver some food help to North Korea, because North Korea had the worst harvest in more than a decade, and 10 million people rely on humanitarian aid. But the bigger picture is that Kim Jong Un needs diplomatic support for his strategy of dealing with the US and the denuclearization talks. Of course, North Korea is depending on China. China is the only left ally that they have, and is also the economic lifeline. So basically, Kim wants Xi Jinping to lobby for his interest in his way of denuclearization towards Trump.
It's quite tricky, isn't it, for China, this? Because on the one hand, it kind of toes, if you like, the US line on North Korea, but at the same time, it does remain Pyongyang's closest ally, doesn't it?
Yeah, the timing here is very crucial. I mean, the big issue for China is the trade war with the US. But in that North Korea conflict, China has a lot of leverage over the US because Trump needs Xi Jinping to keep the pressure on Pyongyang. We know that more than 90% of all the external trade of North Korea runs through China. And if China doesn't enforce the sanctions, the pressure strategy, then it would totally counter the approach of Trump. So I think it's a big signal also, the summit towards Trump. I mean, they both will meet in Japan just very shortly at the G20 meeting. And it's basically showing towards Trump, if you don't cooperate on the trade war, then we will not also cooperate in the North Korea issue.
And what about where you are there in Seoul, South Korea? Have they been sidelined in all this?
Yeah, it's pretty tragic, actually. The government here fought really hard to not be sidelined, but now they have to face reality. They are. They cannot do anything in further engagement towards North Korea, even though they wanted to, because, I mean, South Korea is a strong ally of the United States. They don't want to breach the sanctions, but they need sanctions lifting also to further economically engage with the country. And that's actually the only interest that North Korea has towards South Korea. They need economic cooperation, but South Korea is basically, their hands are bound. They can only build trust between North Korea and the US, and they can mediate, but they cannot really act in that conflict.
Fabienne Kretschmer, thanks very much for being with us, joining us there live from Seoul.